Hey everybody, back with another one, brand new video and a brand new call to action. If you don't know me, they call me Gangish, and I'm running this channel on YouTube because I want to be a doctor one day. I did 10 years in the penitentiary and I did 4 of it in solitary confinement. It's a long way from becoming a doctor, but I'm working on it. I'm using this channel. I'm going to use this channel to pay for grad school, and anything that you can help a brother out with, like, share, subscribe, I'll take all that. I appreciate all that. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and let's get into this video.
I would not wish it on anyone. A family says a man was covered in bugs inside his Fulton County jail cell. I'm Sean Gables.
And I'm Rick Volbaum. And tonight, new at 6, his attorney argues he got no medical help leading up to his death. Just look at where Lashon Johnson was allegedly sleeping. This deteriorating cell in the jail's psychiatric wing. And we're told that Lashon Johnson suffered from mental health issues.
Just seems that the man was pretty much arrested on some basic stuff, but he ended up in the psychiatric ward. They had him on a psychiatric watch. But let's get into this video, and then you tell me if you think this is some sort of psychiatric watch.
Yeah, you know, the lawyer representing the family of Lashon Johnson tells me this is one of the most inhumane inmate deaths he has ever encountered. The family wants the public to see the poor conditions they say their loved one endured while here at the Fulton County Jail, but we must warn you, some of the images are graphic.
It's just unbelievable.
The image is hard to look at. 35-year-old Lashon Johnson unresponsive in a Fulton County jail cell, covered in what his family's attorney says are insect and bedbug bites.
The scene was so horrific that the detention officer said she would not even administer CPR when they found him because she was freaked out. In her words, freaked out by the scene.
Thompson was arrested for misdemeanor battery in June of 2022. Attorney Michael Harper says the inmate was placed in the psychiatric wing of the jail where he remained for 3 months.
No one really checked on him. We have some records from the jail showing that they saw he was deteriorating. From the medical staff and from detention officers.
Thompson was found dead inside his cell on September 13, 2022. An autopsy showed no signs of trauma. While his death is listed as undetermined, the medical examiner noted a severe bedbug infestation.
It looks like it had been there for months, and no one cared.
That is absolutely disgusting. I don't know if you've ever been to jail. Been to a whole bunch of jails. That is ridiculous. That somebody would be living like that, living in a situation like that, and that none of the professionals around them would say anything or would continue to let it happen is absolutely ridiculous. The worst hygiene I've ever seen in a jail was probably Arapahoe County. Now, Arapahoe County had a trade-off. Arapahoe County was very dirty, but it was also, how would I put it? It was pretty free. The higher you went up in custody levels, they just kind of let you alone. Even in Max, I was in Max in Arapahoe County. You were out pretty much all day. Do whatever you want. People are wearing do-rags and ripping up sheets and playing poker and doing all kinds of stuff. Working out on the equipment. So that's probably the dirtiest jail I've ever actually been in. Denver County wasn't great either. I can remember first time I was ever in Denver County, I was in Building 12, and I went and sat down on the toilet to take a deuce, and I looked over, and it looked like somebody had been picking their nose and wiping it on the wall for years and years and years. And just nobody, it's like they kept coming back and just wiping more stuff and wiping more stuff and wiping more stuff. So the whole wall was just full of boogers all the way down the wall. And it had been there for years. You could see like the progression of it. It was real dry up here, and then it was more moist down towards the bottom. It was absolutely disgusting. No
one cleaned it up. No one did anything, apparently.
Pictures from inside Thompson's cell show deplorable conditions. The room covered in filth, Harper says, unfit for even a dog.
If we're going to talk about southern prisons, I had a friend named Jeffrey Parker, and he used to talk to me about being in prison in Arkansas. And in prison in Arkansas, he said the whole was basically they throw you in a room and they throw a Bible in there. If you're lucky, you throw a Bible in there. That was the library you got. And he was from the backwoods of Arkansas, and he talked a lot about being in jail in the backwoods of Arkansas. And it was very dirty and dusty and things like this. But this man, this is absolutely absurd. The idea that somebody would be living like this. I really want to get into that. So whenever you are placed in psychiatric care, whenever you're in jail and you're placed in psychiatric care and things like this, You know, there's somebody who's supposed to be checking on you all the time. There's a constant watch. There will actually be a sheet on your door, a count-off sheet on your door. It will be taped to the front of your door. And whenever they come by for checks, they are to write the time that they did the check. And this is how you keep a paperwork of how people are checked, instead of having people walk around with a stack full of files of all the people that are in medical quarantine, whatever. You'll just keep the things on their door, which means, I don't know how it is out here, but every 15, 25, 30 minutes, somebody needs to come by your room, look in the room, make sure that you are alive, and then make sure everything's okay, that you're not in distress in this room. This means that every day, numerous people walked by this man's cell. They walked right by this man's cell, looked in the cell to make sure that he was still moving and breathing and stuff like that. They saw all that filth and never did nothing. Nobody said anything. These people should be fired. Whoever the medical professionals are who allowed that should be fired. The cops who allowed this, the police officers, the correctional officers, maybe it's the sheriffs. That's probably the sheriff, right? If it's in the county jail. So these aren't even correctional officers. These are actual officers. These are sheriff's department deputies. They should be fired. Anybody who allowed that cell, it's a cell. It's made of metal and concrete. You can just take a hose and spray it out. There's no reason for that. It's a cell. It's not hard to clean. You can just throw a bucket of water at the wall and just start scrubbing with a scrub brush and let gravity do its work, and you will clean the whole thing. There's drains in the floor. Most of the time there's drains in the floor, right? They went by this person's cell every day. Correctional officers, medical professionals, psychiatric professionals went by this person's house every day, numerous times a day, looked in the cell and said, yep, that'll work. That'll do it, right? Now, I don't know if you know anything about bedbugs. I know a little bit about bedbugs. I've had bedbugs before. Grew up around this shit. Colorado has a real bad problem with bedbugs. Colorado is actually one of the worst in the country for bedbugs. We're like number 2 or 3 on the list. We're like up there with New Jersey for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but we have a real bad bedbug problem out here. So I know some things about bedbugs. Okay, bedbugs need nice places to hide, right? There's not a lot of places to hide in these cells. The only way you are going to get a bedbug infestation like that is to have somebody bring somebody in who has bedbugs and then ignore the problem consistently for months and months and months and months and months, and not have somebody clean the cell. That's literally all you have to do. There's not a lot of places for the bedbugs to hide. Bedbugs need places to hide. They're very flat. They need books. They need mattress covers. They like the seams of the mattress and things like this. This is where they hide, and then they come out at night. They're nocturnal feeders, right? So they come out at night whenever they sense the heat in the room. They come out and then they feed. This is completely unacceptable that this man was in there for this long like this. That cell's just not acceptable. I can remember one time being in administrative segregation and them feeding me through the slot. There was a slot. They had cut slots in the door where they would feed you through the door. Now, in my head, everything that was in the cell was my responsibility, and everything that was outside of the cell was the cop's responsibility. That ain't my fault. And these fools would come in here slinging that slop through the little door, right? And it would drip, and it would be sticky and shit like that. But in my head, I'm thinking that's their problem. This ain't my fucking slot. Fuck that slot. That's their slot, right? That's what I'm thinking in my head. And one day the lieutenant's feeding and he gets pissed off. He says, I'm tired of looking at your slot. And he goes over there and cleans it up and stuff. But he didn't even like the fact my cell was clean, but he couldn't get over the fact that just the slot was dirty, right? So that's the Colorado Department of Corrections. He was pissed that I hadn't cleaned the slot in a couple weeks, okay? So I don't know how anybody can call that. Maybe a professional, because if you're a correctional officer, you're expected to act as a professional, right? as a career professional. This is actually a career. It's not a job at Wendy's. This is supposed to be, you're supposed to be a career professional. I don't know how any professional person can claim that they walked by that cell, looked in that cell, and they thought everything was okay with this man, right? How long do you have to ignore somebody to end up with a bedbug infestation like that? That's absolutely absurd. This is absolutely absurd. Rest in peace to this man, Lashon Johnson. Rest in peace to his family. I wish that they, I hope that they win. They're filing a police report, and I hope that they win. Or not a police report, excuse me. They're filing a lawsuit, and I hope that they win. This is absolutely absurd. This never should have happened. No jail cell should look like that. This isn't a third world country. There's no excuse for that. And that's all I got. That's all I got on Fulton County Jail.